Stay Ready is the mentality birthed through the trials and triumphs in life as an NFL long snapper. Join me in conversations with teammates, mentors, friends, and family who help me realize Stay Ready is so much more. A deeply rooted principle of life in all things faith, family, and football. From Music Row in Nashville, welcome to Stay Ready, the podcast. All right, guys, I am so excited about this episode because I got my boy Lunchbox from the Bobby Bones Show and the Sore Losers podcast. What's up, my man?
Dude, it is great to be here. It's an honor, and really, I get the text, hey, you want to come on the pod? And then over the weekend, I see some stuff on social media. I'm like, pod's canceled. Told my wife, I was like, I'm not gonna do the pod tomorrow because they got big news.
Well, brother, the past 48 hours has been crazy. So we gave birth to our daughter, or my wife gave birth to our daughter.
Yeah, but you were there through the process. You helped.
Team effort.
Yeah, you hold the hand.
Team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our baby girl. We have another girl. I am officially just the best girl dad there is right now.
Did you have an inkling? Like, did you have a feeling
I thought it was a boy.
Why? What was different?
The way her belly, the first time with our daughter, True, the belly was like more wide and like rounder. This one was like very, very long and pointy. And they say that you can kind of tell how, the female carries the baby and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's all crap because I've had my wife when she was pregnant, we've had 3 kids. We have 3 boys.
Yeah.
And women would stop her in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And like touch her belly, which I find so weird that strangers just think they can touch the belly of a pregnant woman. It's something about a pregnant woman that women are like, oh, don't mind me. There's no such thing as privacy. And sitting there and talking to my wife and saying this and that. And I don't remember exactly, but we were at one restaurant and the lady goes, I am 95% on all babies. And she just looked at her belly and tells her what it was. And I don't remember if she guessed girl or boy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, you're 95% because you do it to strangers and they can never come back and tell you if you were right or wrong.
Well, my wife, a couple years ago before our first daughter, they did like they would dangle the, like a ring, put a ring on a necklace.
Oh, yeah, one of those wives' tales.
Yeah, and dangle it over the belly. And it would, I think if it went up and down, like north and south, I guess you'd say, it was like a girl. If it went east and west, it's a boy. So anyway, she was doing it the first time, and it said we were going to have, I think she did it 3 times. It said we're going to have a girl, boy, boy. So she was 1 for 1 with the girl, and obviously we reflected on that, and she's like, well, we're going to have a boy. But then the belly looked so different as she progressed in pregnancy. People were like, hey, I think it's a boy. She's carrying, oh, it's low, it's a boy. Then we did the 3D ultrasound or 4D, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
which is so
very, very cool.
Well, right? I was going to say it's very weird looking. Like it's just like, it's strange.
Yeah.
Like it should be exciting, but it's like, it's all mushed up and like, and it's like.
And then the umbilical cord and like the placenta's all over the place and kind of
So as people say it's awesome, it's also like, ew, like it's a little bit weird to me. It's sort of like when babies are born.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, your baby is so cute.
Yeah.
No, guys, the baby is not cute until like 3 weeks later. When they come out, they're aliens. They look like aliens. Their heads are smushed. So as much as I would like to say, oh, my baby is so cute right when it's born,
it takes a while.
It takes a couple weeks until they gain a couple pounds and they fill out their face a little bit.
Yep.
Then it's cute.
The swelling goes down, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So I was 98.9 convinced that we were having a boy.
So did you only have boy names picked out?
No. So my wife and I, we've struggled with names, so we had one name that could go either way.
Got it.
And I'm big on, I want a name that I can shorten, have like a nickname with Truett.
Yes.
Her name is Truett and I call her True. So for my boy name / girl name, I wanted, something where I could just cut it in half. And it's like, for instance, our daughter's name, the big reveal.
Oh, you're doing it right now?
The big reveal. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Our daughter's name is Tatum.
Oh.
Her name is Tatum Love.
After Jason Tatum?
No, way off.
No, you don't like Jason Tatum.
No, I'm a fan.
Okay. I thought that's what it was.
That wasn't what sparked my interest in it. I just thought it was a unique name to where it could go either way. Because if it was a boy, we call him Tatum, but I can call him Tate.
Got it.
I like the name Tate, and it obviously I think it fit better with a girl, and I think Bree would agree too. But over time, since that was the only name we had picked out, we were just convinced that I would start to say, Tate, and I'd write it down, I'd say it, and all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, over time, especially the past maybe 2 months, I was like, this is our boy. This little Tate in there, little tater tot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
So anyway, we go. I'm going to give you a little backstory. My wife is not only, all of our wives are incredibly tough with what they go through, but she is the planner of our family, and thank God she planned for this one. Because, they always say, hey, pack a bag. You never know that, your water could break at any time, and you just need to go to the hospital and whatnot. And so we're approaching, 39 weeks now.
What do you put in your bag? When you're going to the hospiel, what is in the bag?
My wife has got, everything for the baby, for her, for, all this kind of her makeup, her her little bathroom kit, all that. She has everything. And for me, she's like, don't worry, make sure you pack your stuff. And for me, it's like shorts, socks, underwear, t-shirt. Like, it takes me 30 seconds to pack the bag.
Shorts in the hospital is a bad idea because it's so freaking cold. Like, that is the problem that people do not understand. You always had to have long pants and a sweatshirt when you're going to the hospital.
I ended up wearing my sweats the entire time. And I actually brought an outfit. I think I wore this same outfit minus the shirt. It was a black shirt for the delivery. And so I just packed very, very minimal. I just put my pants, shirt, maybe 2 shirts, pair of underwear, 2 pairs of socks, and I was ready to go. Toothbrush, toothpaste, boom. Done.
Impressive.
Yeah. So for me, she had that bag packed for 2 weeks. I packed my bag as soon as she felt like we had a chance of going to the hospital Saturday night. I threw my stuff in there.
What time Saturday night did you make the call like, okay, we need to go to the hospital?
Yeah, so Saturday morning, we went to the gym. She went to go get like a spray. Like, she was prepping. I think she had like an intuition that something was happening. She made sure that
she went and got a spray tan.
Yeah, she was like, I'm really pasty. So, babe, go do your thing. Go do your thing. Pamper yourself, all right? And we had gone to the doctor a few days prior for like her 38-week checkup. Everything was progressing just fine. The baby was measuring just a little bit on the bigger side. At the time, they estimated that the baby was weighing like 8 pounds, 9 ounces, which was what our daughter weighed at full term.
Got it.
So my with what they say, the baby gains a half pound a week. So Bree was freaking out, like, this baby is going to be dang near 10 pounds if we go full term. So, today is February 20th. Our inducement date was the 28th. Full term would be March 1st. So in our mind, we had something planned. The 28th was going to be the day we're going in. Doctor said there's nothing that indicates this baby's going to come early, even though it's measuring a little big. So for me, that's what I needed to hear. That was a confirmation. All right, we still have 10 more days. We're good. We're good, babe. We're good. Let's enjoy our last Saturday. For Valentine's Day, we went to the Opry for date night because that was probably going to be the last time out. Got the babysitter. Had a good time at the Opry that night.
Was your wife miserable at this point? Like, is she at the point where it's like everywhere you go, it's hard for her to walk? It's hard for her to sleep?
She was ready. She was ready. And thank God she prepared, because Saturday came along. The day progressed. She just continued to get more uncomfortable with contractions and cramps and a little bit of like bleeding, just discharge. And again, guys, this is all things that I'm learning as we're going here. We didn't really experience this the first time because we went 2 days after full term, got induced, delivered our first one. So our first time with our daughter True, we didn't have like the cramps and the contractions, because she was fine up until she got her epidural and they induced her. So this time she didn't know if like this is just normal to feel this way. So she called her mom, called the nurse. She started using the contraction app where she's monitoring the time in between each contraction. At the time when she called the nurse, it was like 8 to 10 minutes. The nurse was like, "Hey, you really don't need to come in until it's like 5 minutes apart." Well, coach, sure enough, like it was like 8 minutes. Then it was like 6.5 minutes, and then so it just kept on over time. She called her mom. Her mom's 2.5 hours away. We needed somebody to come and watch our daughter. And so I think we just made the decision like, hey, if we do end up going to the hospital tonight, we need somebody here to watch our daughter. My mother-in-law, Terry, drove down. Thank God, because she was here. And we made the right call, because as soon as she got to Nashville, we went right to the hospital. This is about 8:30 in the evening. And we got there. They walked her right in, hooked her up to like the monitor to get the heart rate of the baby and measure the contractions. And at this time, Bree was like in tears. She was like, she just couldn't bear it anymore. And they were like, "Yep, you're going to labor. You're 4.5 centimeters dilated. Let's get you a room. Let's rock and roll." So I'm like, 9 days early. Let's go.
So then you're up all night.
No,
You were able to sleep.
Yeah, we got into our room. They put it into like, I guess you call it our labor room, like 10:30 at night. They gave her the epidural that night so she can rest and just be comfortable. The As the night went on, we had the same nurse. She was awesome. Lori, shout out Lori. She was like, hey, you're about 5 centimeters dilated. I think ready rock and roll is like 10. Right?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I've been through three babies, and I still don't know the right measurement.
I think it's 10.
I'll go with 10.
I think it's 10. So anyway, she wasn't quite there, but she's progressing. Like everything's trending. The head is facing down. Like things are her cervix, all this stuff, like all these terms, like it just was aligning that she was gonna have this baby very soon. So anyway, I go to sleep. We're exhausted by this time. Doctor comes in, 2:30, 4:30, all that kind of stuff. Well, we wake up around 5:30. She comes in for the morning and like checks the cervix. The cervix is completely gone.
It's go time.
She hadn't broken her water yet, so the actually delivered doctor comes in, breaks it. So 5:30, we're rocking and rolling. No, I'm sorry, because our baby was born 5:30. This was like 4:30. So breaks the water, starts doing her pushes, all that kind of stuff. I get changed real quick, coach, and my Bree's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm getting ready. It's game time." I had just woken up, brushed my teeth.
So you put on a special outfit?
Well, I had like jeans.
Good.
I put black jeans on, my shirt on. It was actually a brand new Stay Ready shirt. I was like, I got to rep the brand while we have our baby, right? And so anyway, the first time, which is crazy because I feel like the first pregnancy, you go through the classes, you go through the breathing techniques. I feel like we completely forgot what we did the first time. So, the nurse was like, all right,
because the difference is what, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we're doing the breathing techniques, the pushes, we're doing, 3 big pushes every 10, whatever it is, pushing for 10 seconds, 3 times. And as the contractions come, and so she did that. I'm bracing one of her legs. The nurse is pushing the other one. And she did that for probably, I don't know, 15 minutes before the actual delivery doctor came in. And again, this wasn't our main doctor. He wasn't on call over the weekend, so we have a new one.
So you didn't have your normal doctor?
No, but Dr. Martin, shout out, he's the best. We love him so much. He was not on call that weekend, but we had another gal come in, and she was awesome, incredible. She comes in.
What's her name? Shout out,
Coach. This was like
what
an audible.
What she look like?
Audible. Everyone's masked up, garbed up, coach.
Okay, blonde hair, brown hair. I mean,
dark
old,
hair,
young,
very young, dark hair, very sweet, awesome.
She doesn't get a shout out. Dr. Martin, who's not even there, gets the shout out. This doctor brings your daughter into the world, gets nothing. Go ahead.
I'm so bad. I should remember because she was incredible. I do remember Lori because Lori was with us all night. She was our night nurse. So anyway, and she's from Texas, big Cowboys fan, shout out. Anyway, we go in and Bree pushes for like, I don't know, less than 30 minutes, where our first pregnancy was 2 hours on the brink of going to C-section. So Bree, like, she was a rock star. Obviously things worked out, aligned really well, where this was a very smooth and easy delivery. And then, we didn't do the gender reveal. So it was now I'm looking. I'm ready to see what the baby is.
Yes.
I'm ready to see little tater tot come out.
And you see, you like right when you see the like hair.
Yeah.
Like on top of the head.
Our daughter had a lot of hair. So I saw the crown come out, but she's facing down.
Okay.
So her back comes out and I see the bottom, and then I'm flip over. I'm like, there's no pee-pee there. I don't see no pee-pee. And I'm like, oh my gosh. We're having a girl. Let's go. Another girl. And then Bree was taken back because, again, we were convinced that this was a boy.
So, like, emotionally, a little bit, is it like, oh, wow. Like,
yes, it took me back a little bit.
Like,
but
you're like, I'm thinking it's a boy.
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe you're hoping a boy.
Yeah.
And because you'd built it up as a boy.
Yeah.
So is there that moment of, oh.
There was a slight.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
it's
no,
not like people get all like, oh, you can't say that. Listen, you can say that. You can say you want a boy and a girl. You already have the girl, so you want the boy. So there is maybe it's not that you're going to love the kid any less.
Yeah.
There can be a little bit of disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was slightly disappointed, but I went into this pregnancy convincing, or just talking to myself like, listen, how much do I love my daughter True? She is the light of my world. If we have another girl, thank God.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love her, and I'm like, having a daughter is the best. Yes, I would love a boy. But if it is a girl, gosh, I'm going to love her so much. And so she came out, flipped her over. It's a girl. Put her on Bree's chest. Bree was kind of taken back. She started crying. And it was weird because our Tatum, our little daughter, she didn't cry at all. Like, even when they took her to the weighing table.
Oh, she didn't do that?
No, there was no,
that
like.
first little cry.
No, she was, dude, coach, she was calm and composed. Like, she was like, guys, I'm here. It's all good. Like, not a big deal. They gave her the shot, one of the, like, vitamin K shots or whatever. No peep out of her. So anyway, we're like, oh my gosh, we tell the family and we're there. And like I said, it's been a wild 48 hours. I still got the band on. We just got discharged like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, and what time? What day? So what is the official birth date?
So she was born 5:48 a.m. on Sunday morning, February the 19th.
Culture. We are 3 years apart exactly. My second son, February 19th.
Let's go! That's what's up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, so February 19th is the date. Let's go.
Like, he just celebrated his third birthday. Like, on
What'd you
Sunday.
guys do for that?
We just played games in the backyard with toys and had some friends. Like, when I say friends, like kids over.
He's like, you're friends with kids, not necessarily his friends.
Right. Like, he has one girl that he is like best friends with from daycare. They do everything together. Every picture, every morning. The girl texts my wife, like, asks her mom, hey, will you text his mom and see what color shirt he's wearing? Because they want to wear matching shirts.
Yeah.
And when they get to daycare, they look, and if they're wearing matching shirts, belly bump.
Oh, are you serious? That's the best.
And so we had them over and some friends, like families from the daycare, like that they're in the same class.
Yeah.
And we just had toys in the backyard, and they ran around. It was great.
No, that's awesome,
but
man.
The scary part is, like, when you say the contractions and she goes into labor early, our first kid, 6 weeks early.
Oh my God, that's really, really early.
Really early. We had
now, is that like emergency, like scary, like very cautious?
It is. We just got back from vacation, and we had a top 10 list of boys' names and top 10 list of girl names.
You had a roster of names.
Well, yes, because we still had 6 weeks to go. We
struggled with finding one.
Well, I mean, there was like five she liked and five I liked for the boys and girls, and then, you know what I mean?
But I will say this. So I stole the name Truett from a teammate.
That's okay.
Cody Davis, played with him in Jacksonville. He named his son Truett. And I'm like, I love that name for a girl. So I told I told Bree about Truett, and she fell in love. And there was no other name that she could ever find or anybody could tell her that would change her mind that Truett was not going to be our daughter's name. Now, for the boy's name, we struggled. We didn't know.
Did you fight back and forth because you had a name for a boy and she had?
No. I think for me, I'm traditionalist. I'm like, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John from the Bible. Let's go. Like, that's it.
That's it. Those are the options.
Let's go, Paul. You know, let's go Thomas, my dad's name. You know, let's go Michael, your dad's name. Like, I'm very cool with the traditional, like, male name.
Yeah.
But my wife wanted maybe something a little bit more unique.
See, I'm more of a unique kind of guy.
Well, Truett was that for us. Yes, and so now going forward, it had to be something that would go along with. Now you can have Truett and then you can have Jake.
Nick.
Or Nick. Yeah. So I'm like, do we just stick with T names? So again, that's where Tatum came from. And
I didn't even put T and T together.
Yeah, T and T, baby.
So you're gonna have all T's?
I don't know if we're gonna have all T's. I mean, if you would ask my wife right now if we want to have a third one, she'd probably say no because she was just like, I'm not mentally ready to even think about being pregnant again.
Of course,
you know,
because she just gave birth. Because there was a family in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Joey and Jill were mom and dad, and then Jackson, Jared, Jessica.
Too many J's.
They were all J's.
Yeah.
Like, that is a little bit extreme.
Yeah. So, but we're TNT right now, brother.
That's awesome.
TNT, all girls, Girl Dad Club, shout out. All the girl dads out there, God bless you, got our hands full. But you have all boys.
I have all boys, 3 boys.
Have you been disappointed at all with, like, not having a girl?
I know that my wife, like, with our third one, she wanted to find out the gender because we didn't find out the gender either. And so what you say.
And how cool is not finding out?
It's the greatest thing ever.
The best.
Listen. When the first one came out, and like I said, 6 weeks early, I mean, and I had just got off a 3-day bender in Vegas, and because I had a bachelor party.
I've been with you in Vegas.
Yes. And
we've been together. Yes. I know how you act out there, brother.
A bachelor party is one last little thing before you become a dad, sort of like a bachelor party.
Yeah.
Because we had 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And literally, I got home on Sunday night, go to work the next day on a Monday. That night, we're watching The Bachelorette. And my wife goes, I think I peed my pants. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're a grown woman.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I think I peed in my pants. And I was like, okay. So she goes to the bathroom and she goes, it's pink. And I'm like, Google. And I was like, well, you're either having a baby or you got a urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
She's like, no way, no way. It's 6 weeks early. So I do what every guy does. I call my sister because she's a nurse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you know, like, what do you think we should do here? And she was like, I would just call your doctor just to be careful and make sure. And she's like, okay. So we called the doctor. And the doctor's like, yeah, you better come in.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You want to talk about not having a bag packed? We didn't have a mattress. We didn't have a car seat. We didn't have anything. She hadn't even had her baby shower yet.
Yeah. Wow.
She was going the upcoming weekend to Houston, where she's from, to have the baby shower. So we had nothing.
Yeah.
So we grab a sweatshirt and a computer and a book, thinking we're going to the hospital and they're going to be like,
what was the book?
What was the computer? What are you going to do with a computer? I don't know. We were just like,
frantic. Yeah.
It was 10:45 at night.
Yeah.
And we go to the hospital and they check us in and they're like, yep, you're in labor. And we're like, so we're up all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving room to room because they're trying to stop it. 6 weeks is early and they're trying to give it shots to let the lungs develop. And
which is this, that's the scary part.
Yes.
You don't think about that because you see the ultrasound and you see these 3D scans, you're like, it's a fully developed baby. That's why Bree went into our 38-week thing saying, can we have this baby early? And the doctor's like, well, no, because you want them to develop the lungs all the way.
Correct.
So 6 weeks is like, that's scary.
So they're giving shots into my wife, trying to get like as many, like something for the lungs. I don't even know what the shot is. Don't even understand it.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, and then they're like, so they move us into a non-delivery room and then it's happening. And my wife is like puking in a trash can because she's in so much pain. They're like, all right, we got to move you out of this room because you're not allowed to have a baby in this room. So we moved 3 different rooms in the first night. And we're on the phone with my parents and her parents like all night. And finally at like 2:30, 3 a.m., they book 6 a.m. flights from Houston and Austin to fly up.
Yeah.
And we are in the hospital and then and the doctor comes in. And of course we're in labor for 5 hours because it takes a long time, the first one. And at one point, the doctor comes in and goes, oh, you're good. You guys can take a nap. And so we take a nap, and we don't, because I am nodding off because I'm still like recovering from Vegas.
Yeah.
And we'd been up all night, and the emotion and the adrenaline was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So we take a nap, and we forget to tell our parents that we're going to take a nap.
Yeah.
So they are texting and texting and texting.
And you're not responding.
Do we have a baby yet? Do we have a baby yet?
Yeah.
Do we have a baby yet? Then we have the baby, and the doctor pulls the baby and puts the baby on my wife's chest. And my wife's like, what is it? I'm like, it's a baby. And she's like, no, is it a boy or a girl? I'm like, oh, it's a boy. And so she got to hug it.
Yeah.
And then they took it to the NICU.
Yeah, because
straight away. Like
right into the little incubator. And
they put it in the incubator and boom, wheel it down the hall. And I walk down the hall with him and I text the family. I say, hey, we're coming. So they all come in the doors and they're waiting at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
And I say, it's a boy. And they get to see him in the little incubator as it's going by.
Yeah.
And that's it. Into the NICU. In the NICU for 2 weeks. And just crazy.
What did your son weigh 6 weeks early?
What's crazy is when you go into the NICU.
Yeah.
He was the biggest baby in the NICU.
Yeah.
Because
I had my neighbor had their daughter 3 or 4 months early.
See?
And this was like maybe a pound and a half. It was very, very scary. And thank God she made it through. But
yeah, so my kid was like 7 pounds, but still the lungs weren't developed.
Couldn't breathe on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the NICU. And then when you're in the NICU, you have to take a class when you're going to get out.
Yeah.
And we were in there with a couple that they had twins that were born like 3.5 pounds.
Yeah.
And another lady that her water broke at like 3.5, 4 months. And she'd been put on bed rest. And she was in the hospital. And the husband was at home with the other 2 kids since month 4. So for 5 months, she's just sitting in the hospital bed.
Oh my gosh.
And it was crazy. So, I mean, I was sitting there, like, my kid is the biggest one in here, but he's still in the NICU. And I'll never forget, scrub it. And when you go to scrub in, you have to wash your hands. And you see a lot of the same people coming and going.
Yeah.
And I remember scrubbing in one day, and this dude's like, "Oh, how you doing today?" And it's someone I'd seen, on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm good." You know what I mean? He's like, "Man, we're going home today." And you know what my thought was?
Yeah.
Screw you. Like, why does he get to go home? I was pissed.
Yeah.
And you should be so happy for that person. But for me, it was like, you're going home and I don't get to take my kid home. Like, it was like, I was pissed.
Yeah.
And it was weird because when we checked out of the hospital, we had to leave our kid at the hospital.
Yeah.
That is something they don't prepare you for.
No.
We had never taken a birthing class because we were 6 weeks early.
Yeah.
It was bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas.
I remember our neighbor when their daughter was born. This is kind of like at the end of like COVID. So for 4 months, 5 months, that their daughter was in the incubator in the NICU. Only one person can visit. They can never touch her. They could just put their hands through the gloves, and they never were able to feed her. So it was months where they just they took their turns going back by themselves to see their daughter. And like I said, God had major favor in that, because like their daughter grew up and now she's a normal little girl. But there's so many people that face those circumstances. But you're like, I want my baby boy to go home.
Yes.
So 2 weeks probably felt like an eternity when these people have been
there
in these
for months.
Yeah, months.
Yes. And so back to your question about, do I have some disappointment that I don't have a daughter?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I didn't have any expectations. But my wife, going into the third child, she wanted to find out the gender.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I don't think emotionally I can handle it in the delivery room if it is another boy, because I really want a girl.
Yeah.
And so we were going to have a gender reveal when we were down seeing my parents. And then she goes, I don't know if I can do it yet. I don't know if I can do it yet.
Yeah.
So we never did, and we didn't find out to the delivery room.
Well, Coach, I mean, just you alone in the house has got to be a headache. So you plus 3 more is
100%. 100%.
It's a real world house, right?
It's awesome. It's like when stop being polite and start getting real.
I know, right?
Oh, it's chaos all the time.
Let's switch. A nice little segue into what I want to talk.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I love Bree. I got to give you a major shout out. Love you so much. You're an incredible mother, incredible wife. You're so strong. You're tough. And this one, I mean, comparing the first pregnancy to this one, she feels great. I mean, like I said, the first one was 2 hours in labor on the verge of C-section. This one just seemed like Tatum just like came right out.
Yes. The third one with us, my wife oh my God, I think I need that epidural. I need that epidural. And they call. By the time they got the epidural in, the baby's already coming out.
Yeah.
It never took effect. Like they were just putting it in her back.
Wow.
And so it was like a slip and slide.
It's crazy, right?
It was
How
like
they're
20,
all different. Yeah.
23 minutes.
Yeah.
The doctor was just coming in to say good morning, and she was like in her like clothes.
Yeah.
She was like, baby's coming. Let's go. And they were still trying to put the epidural in the back. So she had the baby all natural.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Oh man, she was like, it was terrible.
I'm sure it was, but that's like a
my
medal of honor.
My mom did all 3 of us with all natural.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, dang, God bless her, man.
Thanks, Mom. Shout out.
Woo! Shout out, Bree. Thank you so much, man. Like I said, just a whirlwind. 48 hours ago, we were going to the hospital. I'm sitting here with you now. It was perfect. So I had to sit with you. You're like the perfect person to have on this pod.
Now,
for
has
this
True
reason.
met the new baby?
Yeah. Yeah, so she came in. I was excited to did a little video for walking into the room for the first time, and she was a little shy at first. She's not even 2 yet, so she's just like kind of, baby. She didn't know that like now she's like touching the baby, giving her kisses, all that kind of stuff.
Now she understands the baby's gonna be living with you.
Yeah. Well, no. So we got home today. True's at school still. So after this, I'm gonna go pick her up.
Oh wow.
So she's gonna come home to somebody in her spot.
It's a very interesting. You don't know what the dynamic's going to be.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, it was great.
Seamless transition.
Seamless. They were. I mean, like when we had our third one, my middle child is like, my baby, my baby.
What are the age gaps for the 3?
They are 19 months apart each.
So that's like that's like
so
we are.
I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
And are they best friends?
Best friends.
Even the youngest along with.
Gets along. They tell us they try to wrestle because. The older 2 have learned how to wrestle, and I think it's from watching football.
Yeah.
They see them tackle.
Yeah.
And so they think, we can do that. Yeah. We can do that.
Yeah.
And my 4-year-old is obviously bigger and can just push him over.
Yeah.
On his own, my now 3-year-old started just going for the legs.
Really?
He learned to just go for the legs. And then so my 1-year-old wants to get in on it, crawls over there, and they kind of wrestle him.
Yeah.
And they tell me, Dad, when he gets too old to wrestle, we'll just have another one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not how it works. You're not supposed to wrestle the baby. Like,
well, you're gonna
friends.
You're gonna have some tough boys though, then, man. I mean, shoot, sounds like they're getting along well.
They are. It's great.
Because we were warned by our nurse leaving today. She's like, yeah, I got 2 daughters as well. They're best friends. However, the transition, like bringing the baby into the house, like our oldest daughter did not take well to it. You know, like she's no longer the baby.
Right, and some jealousy.
Jealousy, yeah.
Jealousy.
And my wife, obviously they say for the next 6 weeks or whatever it is, or 2 weeks, you can't pick anything up. Don't pick up your daughter. Don't pick up your baby. And my wife's like, gosh, that's going to be really hard not for me to pick up True. Little things like pick her up to put on the couch, pick her up to
put
whatever.
her in bed. Yep.
Yeah, so but thank God we have my mom here. My mom flew in overnight. My mother-in-law's here. We have some good help for the first week. And yeah, Coach, girl dad mode on 100 right now.
Congrats.
Let's go. Let's switch some gears here. So I mentioned real world. And you and I have known each other now for a handful of years. I don't know, 7 years. Let's call it.
Let's call it that.
And we've hung out a little bit off your show. We went to Vegas together for Ray's bachelor party, which is awesome because we were shooting guns and blowing stuff up in the desert. We were betting. We went to Taco Bell late night. We were gambling. We had a good time. That was during COVID too. It was kind of
that was
weird.
the first time I ever had. Is it Burger Shack?
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
Really good.
Really good. First time I'd ever had it.
Yeah,
was that trip.
Right on the strip. But like getting to know you a little bit, like you're obviously a dad of 3. You've been on the show now for
It'll be 20 years in October.
Gosh dang, Coach. Is that crazy?
It's the craziest thing I've ever. When I think about it in that term, it's crazy because I literally was about to finish college. And I was like, oh, let me, just try this radio thing out. And I'll just, if it doesn't work, I thought in 6 months, okay, then I'll go back to college, whatever. Yeah. Or then I'll just I'll look for another job. Yeah. And because I had no idea what radio could do.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like a radio nerd. Like I didn't have a show that I listened to growing up. It wasn't like I was like, oh my God, I want to be on the radio. I had none of that. Yeah. I wanted to be on The Real World on MTV. And my career would take off.
Absolutely.
And I happened to get this gig on the radio, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll do it for 6 months. Let's see what happens. And
it took off. Yeah. But at the time, so this originated, we're here in Nashville. That originated in Austin, right?
Correct.
It wasn't the Bobby Bones show, right?
Well, it was the Bobby Bones show.
But it wasn't country music.
No,
right?
It was top 40.
Top 40.
Yeah.
And so, but the nucleus of the team, like you, Amy, and Eddie and pretty much all of you guys have all been together pretty consistently, right?
Like Amy came in, I want to say 05 or 06.
When did you come in?
I started in 03, October of 03.
So were you like the first co-host? Or what was the team like when Bobby Bones show just was birthed on air?
So there was a girl named Jill and another girl named Erica, me, and Bobby.
Okay.
And then Erica left, and then Jill left, and then we brought in a girl named, I don't even remember. Then Amy came in.
Okay.
And then that's where that kind of helped. And then when we moved here, Eddie came along.
Oh, so Eddie wasn't even part of the Austins. Okay.
No.
But Mike D was kind of like an intern or something?
He was an intern on the show.
Ray was doing some stuff then?
Ray was working for the sports station, and then he started interning for our show also. So
for the most part,
a lot of us, a lot of the nucleus, we were together for a long time,
So going on 20 years.
Yes, and when I say 20 years, it's so crazy to me, the transition, like the whole, like, holy crap, I've been doing something for 20 years.
Yeah.
It has almost been half my life.
Yeah.
Which is weird to think about.
And you've revealed a lot, obviously, over the 20 years, people get to know you.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's the weird part.
Were you married?
Heck no.
So you were single.
Was I married?
I mean, I don't know.
Dude, I was 22 years old. I was never going to get married.
Well, obviously, you couldn't be married if you wanted to go on The Real World.
Correct. Well, I mean,
yes. you had big aspirations, Coach.
I did. I had big, like the last semester, spring semester of college, when I was going to be one class short of graduation, but I still got to walk the stage. Everybody's like, oh, are you applying for jobs? Where you been applying? And I said, I haven't applied, man. I'm going to be on The Real World.
Yeah.
And they're like, no,
you gotta apply for that though.
And they're like, no, like really, like what are you gonna do? And I'm like,
no, you don't, guys, you don't get it. I'm gonna be a reality TV star.
I'm gonna be on the reality. I'm gonna be on Real World, and then I'll be on the challenge.
Yeah.
And people are like, shut up, dude. Like, what, like really, like, do you have your resume? And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't need a resume to be on the real.
People didn't get it.
People did not understand it,
Yeah.
and I am a little disappointed that nowadays reality stars can turn it into a career.
Yeah.
I missed it by just a little bit. I mean, I didn't even make the Real World ever, but now it like those Real World people, they could have made a living out of it. Most of them.
Well, look at The Miz.
The Miz.
Look at
Johnny Bananas, CT.
Yep.
I mean, they're still
those guys have obviously they have like their platform off camera, like they're doing the podcast, they're doing appearances,
they're doing the challenge.
Doing
they're
challenge.
still doing the
challenge.
Challenge.
Has gone on for like 30 years now.
Correct.
It's crazy.
Yes.
And CT's one, Bananas is one.
I mean, there's some of them that are in like Congress.
It's crazy.
It's weird.
Yeah. Well, even the guy from Good Morning Football was on Real World.
Kyle Brandt. He was on Real World Chicago.
Yeah, and he's
with Anissa. Sorry, I'll not geek out.
I like Anissa.
Yes.
Yeah, she's on the challenge still quite a bit.
She's still on the challenge quite a bit. She was just on this past season.
So what is I mean, we're talking. We'll get caught up on the Bobby Abone show and where that is currently, but like let's talk about Real World because I was heavily invested in that show as well growing up. Like Real World Seattle is a big one. San Diego,
so good.
I loved those ones, and so New Orleans I think was another one that I really liked.
Yeah, you know that girl, the blonde, married Matt Wolf. Not Julie, but the other girl,
from New Orleans.
Yeah,
I don't quite remember.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, I know that's what I'm saying. I can name this. This is how stupid I am.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
You're a fanatic.
I don't remember anything, but I can remember Real World facts and Real World this and Real World that. And I mean, I loved that show.
Yeah. No, it's a great show.
Like Real World Boston. And what happened is the cameras and everything, social media kind of ruined it because then people started following the cameras where before it was like real.
It was a real thing, yeah.
Like it was the real like it was the first real reality show. Like it was real.
Where was the first city?
New York City.
New York City, and then
you had Miami, San Francisco.
Yeah,
but the one in Miami, like
Vegas, where they lived in the penthouse, the Palms.
That was awesome. Trishelle, Steven, Alton, what was her name? Ariel. I don't. That was great.
So, did you ever audition?
Yes.
How many times did you send in at this time you had to send in a tape?
I never did a tape. I went to open casting calls.
This was in Austin?
I did one in Austin.
Dallas, I would assume? Or...
I did one in Dallas.
Okay.
And I did one in College Station. And here's the thing. One of them was on Halloween in Austin, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I went in costume because I thought everybody be dressed up, show your personality, you know? So I looked kind of like a taxi cab driver. I took the hair off of a wig.
Yeah.
And I had one of those like fedoras.
Yeah.
And I had like a vest.
Yeah.
And some bell bottoms. You know what I mean? Like a taxi driver. Like, hey man, you know, and I had some chains on.
Yeah. Like a pimp taxi driver?
Yeah, kind of like a pimp taxi driver, like from the 70s.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll never forget them asking the question about like, okay, let's say that there's two couples that want to adopt a child.
Yeah.
And one is a gay couple and one's a straight couple. Who do you give it to?
Yeah.
And this one guy's like, well, you got to give it to the straight couple, you know? And I said, well, that's why you give it to the gay couple, because you got ignorant asses like this right here that, you know, don't believe in same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
And he's all mad or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I did good. Didn't ever call me. And I'm like, damn, I did good. I thought I nailed it. You know what I mean? I was like, I ain't scared of this cat. But then when I went to the College Station one, I drove from San Antonio because I was going to the University of Texas at San Antonio. Roadrunners, shout out. And I went to wherever they were having it. You go to this bar and you sit around it, like you wait in line. Then you sit at a table and they ask you questions. And I was sitting like, the casting director was at the head of the table. I was the third in, and there was only girls at my table.
Okay.
Me and like 6 other girls.
Yeah.
And I mean, every question, I was nailing it.
Yeah.
I was in the conversation. She would look at me, and I walked out, and she reached across and shook my hand when I was leaving. I was like, she's calling me.
Yeah.
I nailed that. Like, I freaking dominated.
Yeah.
So I drive back, and this is how bad my car didn't have a radio.
Yeah.
So I had like a boombox. I sat in the front seat, so I had something to play as I drove.
I love that.
And I drove back to the school, and I got home, and I had an evening class of economics with Mr. Avandepour.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as a free lunch. I will always remember this from economics because your time is worth money.
Yeah.
Only thing I remember from Mr. Avandepour's class. But I sat there and I'm like, well, I'm back in time. Might as well go to class, right?
Yeah.
So I go to class and I get done and I get back home and there's a call from the area code 323 on the caller ID.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, Clay, who called you from 323? I don't know. Joe, who called you from 323? I don't know anybody from 323. And I Google 323.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
This is it.
Yeah, but here's the problem. It was an open casting call, and if they were calling you, they wanted you to come back the next day for an interview. They didn't leave a message. They just moved on. That was it.
You didn't try to call back?
I did, but it just goes to a voicemail. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a number from L.A., so they were telling me whatever time they wanted me to come interview tomorrow is what they were doing.
And you missed it.
And I freaking missed it because I went to stupid economics class. And that was it. Then I aged out.
Yeah, because at the time, was there an age limit?
Yeah, it was 18 to 24. I guess I was only 20, but I was
way older than 24, right?
Right, but I was only 21. But then I think I got my job on the Bobby Bones show. Then they had Real World Austin, so they weren't going to have someone from Austin on there.
Not true.
No, true.
Yeah, but
they don't want someone that's in their hometown.
Yeah, but I feel like now I feel like.
But now they don't even do it. They just do. I mean,
on every Bachelor, you can guarantee there's 3 or 4 people from Nashville.
Now that's different. Yes, but they're not filming it in Nashville.
But if it was, I mean, it still would be here.
I agree, but that's not Real World.
You're right.
Real World is different. Where
I gotta keep thinking that this was 20 years ago.
Yes, this was 20 years ago, and I do believe that the Real World depth of characters was so much better back then than reality shows now. Like Johnny Banana says, or maybe it's CT. I don't even know who it is.
Yeah.
But they talk about now they just, if they're athletic, they get on the challenge. But they have
if they're a former football player, they're former Miss USA pageant chick,
they don't have to have everything.
There's no substance.
Right.
It's all looks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard to maintain characters on the challenge like they did before, because they had a lot more substance and depth. Like
That's right.
like Fessy.
Anissa. Well, Anissa, perfect, because at the time it was taboo to be lesbian. Wasn't she like bisexual?
Yes.
And no one really knew what her sexual preference was, and she kind of revealed that on the show as she went, right?
Yes.
But that's what people at the time.
Crazy.
I mean, that was
like Theo. Theo was on there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was so groundbreaking.
Right.
Like the one in Miami, the girl got pregnant on the show.
Yeah.
And she had an abortion, and they showed it. Like, she was like, no, like, we need to chronicle this because this is real. Like, this is the real world.
Yeah.
This is a situation I'm facing.
Yeah.
And they aired it. Like, they didn't air you know what I mean? But they aired her going through the emotional, like, that was the real, like, that was like, holy crap.
Show would be canceled if that was on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So real.
Yeah.
And they had to have a job and work together. It was just so good.
It was unique.
Yes. And now, like, I look at it and, like, the challenge, Fessy. He's this big dude. He played football at UT Chattanooga or something. He's like 6'6". He's a monster.
Yeah.
But he's such he's just good because he's freaking big.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much depth to him. He thinks he's a badass. He thinks he wants to buck up to CT. Yeah. And CT puts that little, hey, sit down, boy.
Did I see TOs on it now?
No. Oh, they did challenge All-Stars versus celebrities.
Okay, I saw like a viral reel that like they were like CT and TO were kind of arguing like, dang, TO's on this thing now?
Yes, they did.
Just letting anybody come on the challenge?
That's where it got really stupid, is when they did All-Stars versus celebrities. So dumb.
Or normal people, right? They would just add new people off the streets, right?
Yes, yeah. But they did have, you know who was on the real challenge? Lolo Jones.
I didn't know that.
And she was terrible. Terrible.
But she wasn't a member on the Real World, was she?
No, but, but they don't have Real World now, so they have to go get people from other places. So they're getting people from Big Brother, Survivor.
Okay. So they're getting
people
relevant people that people would recognize.
Love Island. They're going overseas to get them from the UK. They're getting them from Australia. They are taking them from other reality shows and bringing them on the challenge because they have no farm system like they did. They used to have Real World.
Yeah, because then
Road
4
Rules.
or 5 of that season would just naturally progress
to the challenge.
Like Love Island with The Bachelor.
Yes.
If it's not or Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes.
So when are they going to come to the senses and start drafting people off of the radio?
That's a great question.
When are they going to start coming to Nashville and looking for the Bobby Bones show?
I've thought about it. See, here's the thing. I want to be on the challenge, or I want to be on Survivor. Those are my two.
Yeah, because I think you're a competitive person at nature.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to go in and compete.
And Survivor, like, I watch that and I'm like, I'm going to be terrible at the physical challenges because I'm not strong enough. I'm not
Is
big.
the same person still being the host of
Jeff
Survivor?
Probst.
Gosh,
Yes.
he's been...
New season starts March 1st. Get ready.
How old is he?
I don't know, but he's still awesome.
And he still does the same thing. The tribe has spoken.
Yeah, hey,
put your flame out.
Your tribe has spoken.
That's funny. So on Twitter, when Twitter started to like kind of take off, Pat McAfee is obviously huge in the media space. He was my teammate at the time. But
are you guys friends?
We're friends. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we played together for
right, but that didn't mean you're friends.
Yeah. Well, we were. I'm close friends with pretty much every specialist I played with because we spent so much time together. I haven't seen Pat in quite some time because now I live here in Nashville and he's in Indy and he's
doing
just
it,
crushing it. But it was funny at the time, when he would go back and forth, he would argue openly with people on Twitter all the time.
Yes.
And when he would, one of the funny things that we kind of created over time as I was getting into Twitter and following it and seeing how it works was, when he was about to block somebody, he wouldn't just block somebody. We would do a tribal council to block somebody.
That's hilarious.
And we would just let it drag on, let the fans start chirping this other person who's obviously disrespected Pat in some sort of way. And then we would say the tribe has spoken. We put the meme of the dude putting the flame
That's
out.
hilarious. That's funny. That's creative.
And then the person was blocked, and it would piss that person off so bad because I didn't block the person, so I can see
what they're saying.
Dude, tell Pat to unblock me, man. I'm sorry, dude. Nope, tribe has spoken, man. Sorry.
How many athletes do you think have burner accounts?
I think it's probably pretty common. Yeah, I would. Yeah,
because I look at you don't realize how. Because they're humans. Athletes are human beings, but how sensitive they are, and they want to go after these people on Twitter. Because I feel like if you're at a certain level, if you're Kevin Durant, if you're Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
you shouldn't even be. You should post and never check your replies.
Yeah, you should block comments.
No, you can have comments because people feel like they connect to you if they're allowed to comment.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are checking it drives me. I'm just like, guys.
Well, you got to remember though, that Coach, a lot of these guys are in their they're fresh out of college. So when they hit success and they get that blue check mark, they have hundreds and thousands of followers. I mean, you and I in our 20s would be all in that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
We would be so consumed.
But Kevin Durant is in his 30s. He's he's won NBA title.
One of the greatest players of all time.
And he has a burner account to go after people who attack him, say bad things about Kevin Durant. That's unbelievable to me.
Well, I think it's funny if you use it the right way. It can be comical. Yeah,
it can be comical.
But I think if you let it get too personal and you cross that line, then it becomes like, all right, dude, you just need to chill.
I just think social media is hilarious. How people
or you hire somebody to do it for you. Get a creative, witty person to run your burner account, and you just roast people. That person roasts them for you.
There you go.
I think that's what you do.
That's not bad either.
No, that's what you do. But dude, the real world, that was a pipe dream. I believe, Coach, I would have casted you for sure.
I thought about it all the time.
Yeah.
I think it was
but it was cool. How cool was it? That show was the show.
It was the show. It was the best show.
For a long time.
For kids people our age.
This is before American Idol. This is before The Bachelor. This is before anything
It was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was just like, man, I want to do that so
and the challenge
freaking
is awesome.
bad.
The things that they get to do. And,
oh my God, some of those things, jumping off cars and cliffs and hanging from helicopters, that looks incredible.
And I don't think it really gets old, right?
No.
It doesn't. They put a little spin on it every year.
Every year they had this season was ride or dies.
Then you see CT come back. Johnny Bananas comes back. Are they still crushing it? They're still winning consistently.
CT
is he the greatest challenge player of all time?
He is the greatest challenge player of all time. Let me tell you.
Where does Johnny Bananas? Because I know Johnny's won.
Johnny's won 7, but
where does CT won? How many has he won?
I don't know. But here's the thing about CT.
It doesn't matter about titles.
No. Because they was faced off in an elimination where you had to.
So CT's always won those eliminations.
Well, I'm going to tell you the one that was just the most unbelievable.
Okay.
So they're strapped to each other and they're sitting down.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to crawl and knock over a barrel with the person on your back, and whoever does it wins.
And CT and Johnny Bananas
are
strapped, and they're
strapped.
they're obviously the alpha males of the show. Yeah.
CT
just dragged him.
No. Stood up and just carried him.
That's awesome.
And he spun and made Bananas hit the trash can. I mean, it made him.
So he used Johnny's body to knock over the trash can?
It made him look
like a rag doll.
Yes. And it was just like, Dang!
So that solidified CT to be.
And CT is not on it as much as Bananas. Here's the thing about CT. At, I think, 39 years old, out of shape, dad, he came and won the challenge, right?
I saw when he came back.
He came and he won it. And he was like, man, I tried to, downplay it with my dad bod. So the next season he comes back in shape, won it again. Back to back at the age of 40. Unfreaking believable.
But like CT has that persona too. He's from Boston. He's got the accent. He's like, remember when it was on the show, right? Or even early in the challenge, like he was fighting everybody. Like,
yes.
He had it, he came in the house like puffing his chest like I'm the man. Like somebody tried to take me out, like, is he still kind of like that or is he more low key?
He's more low key now.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was he went through a lot. Like I remember, I think one challenge, he said that he went on and he got in a fight and he was anger.
Yeah.
Is that his brother had gotten shot and killed.
Oh, wow.
Like just before he went on the show and he had a lot of anger that he didn't deal with.
Yeah. So he took it out on the people in the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would, it just, to see the transformation of CT of bully to laid back dad, chill, still dominates. But you still get in his face, like Fessy tried to get and intimidate him.
Yeah, is Fessy a guy or girl? I don't know. Okay,
he's a big dude.
But he's trying to become that alpha male. But
he's trying to become that alpha male. But here's the thing about him: he's only good, like he wins eliminations because
he's strong.
He's strong. They put him in hall brawl, which is two guys run down a tunnel and he runs over people.
He's gonna run over somebody that's 150
or it's
pounds.
a strength thing.
Yeah,
and I think my belief about the producers know who's going into elimination.
Yeah.
And they put physical ones when he's going, so he'll win. Yeah. Because the one he lost this year was a balance thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you put him in a certain environment and he's going to struggle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I'm way too into this.
They talk about the NFL being scripted. Obviously, these shows are scripted. These producers want certain people to make, like the Bachelor, Bachelorette. They want
certain people to go farther.
They want that crazy chick to go far because it's going to lure people in to watch. They want the guy who cheats on that eventually comes out saying that he's cheating on his girlfriend back home to be on the show. They want that stuff.
Tell me, you've given up on The Bachelor.
I haven't watched it in quite some time. I was heavily invested.
We were both heavily invested.
Yes.
And then I finally looked at my wife and I said, "Listen, we don't have enough time in the day."
Yeah. Well, it's on so late. I feel like it starts right after the Super Bowl or something. I'm like,
it's 2 or 3 hours a week.
This is where I lost my appeal when they started putting people like people were coming back and I'm just like, no, we want something new and fresh. Like we don't need like these people who were, I don't know.
It's like, oh, this girl was on last season. She's going to come back and try to win Jake's heart. Well, no. Like, why is she back? Like, she was on a different season. Now she's interested in this guy. Like, stupid.
And then there was one season where the girl fell in love early. She left, so another girl took her spot.
Oh yes,
I was like,
Claire.
I'm just like, I'm over this, man. I'm over it. And then it just became a popularity contest, and obviously then you see these people on Instagram. They got 1 million followers already. It's like it's just not the same, coach.
It's not. They are there for the fame, which I know, but I don't blame them.
They got Chris Harrison. They got rid of him.
I would be there just to get on Bachelor in Paradise.
Well, I wanted to. So here's my Bachelor story. So this is back in 2010-ish or so. I was living in Nebraska, and in Omaha at the time. A couple friends had submitted something for me to like be on it. So I got an email saying, "Hey, can you send in a video, describing yourself and all kind of stuff?" So I did it, sent it in, got a call back. "Hey, can you come to LA on these dates?" And at the time, I'm broke. I'm living in Omaha. Football's not really panning out. So I'm like, what do I got to lose? So I flew out to LA for like a live one-on-one with the producer. Sat down.
Okay.
Went to the studio.
What do they ask you when they're one-on-one?
I can't. Well, it was a guy producer and a female producer that interviewed me 2-on-1, but it was in person. So again, I was like, what do I wear? What do I say? How do you approach this? What angle do you want to take? Do I want to be the jock? Do I want to I just didn't know what to do because it seemed like there's always a professional athlete on there, whatever. And I specifically remember they asked me like my type. Do you prefer blondes or brunette? And I think I responded with naturally, I'm married to a brunette. I said, I'm more attracted to brunettes. They casted the blonde girl whose husband died in like a NASCAR.
Yes, know who you're talking about.
Emily Maynard. Emily, that was her season. But I loved Emily. I thought she was great.
She's hot.
So should I have said Emily? I don't know. But anyway, it wasn't for me. Because Coach, I remember I had the contract in hand. It was a very thick contract. These are stipulations, like this is what you get paid. There is no cell phone, no email for 23 hours of the day. You're filmed 23 hours a day. So like you literally drop what you're doing to go do this. But nowadays, it propels people to the next level.
Yes, there's options afterwards. But before it was
15 years ago, that wasn't the case.
Right.
You weren't becoming an overnight success on the show unless you were like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette.
Yes,
people now just go on for their 15 minutes of fame and like, boom, they start a podcast and they're good.
Podcast, Bachelor in Paradise. I mean,
exactly. Well, they didn't have that either at the time.
I know that's the best one.
The spinoffs are the best. But what I was gonna say, what I wanted to do is I wanted to audition to be the Grim Reaper. I wanted to be the guy when, they do a double date. When the guy has two girls that they go on one date.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they pack their bags. And they leave their bags at the door.
Yes.
And all the girls are sitting back, oh my God, who's going home? Who's going home? I wanted to be the guy that walks in the room and grabs one of the bags, and that's who gets eliminated. I wanted to be that guy.
That's funny.
The Grim Reaper. I tweeted them all the time, like ABC, like Chris Harrison, like, how do you become the Grim Reaper, the suitcase Grim Reaper? I want to be that guy that walks in dramatically and like, do I grab this one? Nope, grab this one, and Claire's gone.
That's a great question. How do you get that job?
It's probably some dude in the back like, hey, Larry,
go grab the red one. Grab the red one.
But I'm like, dang, I want to be Larry.
Also, I want to know, does the Bachelor or Bachelorette provide them with clothes? Because I hate to tell you, they have the nicest clothes, and I don't have anywhere near that.
You have to. I mean, I'm sure they go to makeup and dress, right, before every show.
I'm like, good grief, all these guys have tuxes and suits, and I'm like, I don't have any of that
Not to mention the ring that they get.
Well, the ring is given to them. I know that.
But that's like a 3-carat diamond or whatever it is. Pretty incredible.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? All right, man, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go back to the Bobby Bones show. So you guys originated in Austin. When did you get that call? How did you find out that the show is now going to move to Nashville? I talked to Ray previously on one of the episodes about, getting the news. You had to be super quiet for quite some time about it. So, man, talk about the transition to Nashville.
So I'm playing golf, and I get a call from Bobby, and I miss it. And 20 seconds later, I had another missed call.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world? And he texts me, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And before I can even respond, he calls me again.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm playing golf. He's like, oh, I was going to invite you. We're about to go play golf. I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay. I was like, what's up? And he goes, oh, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
He's probably calling to tell you that he got casted for the Real World.
And I'm like, well, what in the world? Like, he's like, tomorrow, probably around 9 a.m., I'll call you up to the conference room. And I'm like,
it's a big deal.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to get fired.
Yeah.
Because the way he's talking, it's like weird.
Yeah.
And so about 9 a.m., I guess he texts me and says, come up front. And so I go up front, and he's in the conference room. He has all these papers in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, I need you to sign this paper. And it's like a non-disclosure, won't say anything. And I sign it, and he goes, all right, now that you signed that, I can tell you that I'm moving to Nashville.
He said I'm. He didn't say we're.
Yeah, he said, I'm moving to Nashville. Okay. And I look at, and I mean, I'm 10 years in at this point.
Yeah.
And
so the show was pretty mature.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that you guys were only there for a short period of time.
No, 10 years.
Okay. Wow.
And so I thought, wow, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life in my hometown.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, and I'm never going to have to leave.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
They came to me and they want me to be a country show, to go country, and I'm just sitting there going, what do I say?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't no we. He just said, I'm.
So you thought you lost your job?
I thought I lost my job, and I'm just sitting there. And I don't know, he thinks it's hilarious, but he just sits there for like 30 seconds, just lets it be silent.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Because you know what I want to say is blank you, blank you, blank you, blank you.
Yeah.
And because I'm thinking I'm high and dry gone.
Yeah.
Like just leaving me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and I want you to go with me. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world? Like, why would you do, you know what I mean? He thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
And it is funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny when you think about it.
Yeah.
But when you are, I'm like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, whoo! But, and he was just like, you're not allowed to tell anybody. Like, you can tell your family, things like that. And I'm just like, holy crap, man. Like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah. What was the time frame that he gave you as far as?
It was like 2 months.
Okay.
And we were going to go up MLK Day weekend to find places to live, tour, whatever. But we couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Couldn't say a word.
Yeah.
And so I tell my parents, tell my family, of course. And
wife is not in the scene at this time? Okay.
No. And so I tell my grandparents, and my grandpa doesn't know anything about being discreet.
Yeah.
So one day he's like, hey, we should go to lunch. We should go to lunch. I'm like, all right. So we go to lunch at Texas Roadhouse, 183 Anderson Mill. And he comes in.
Bottomless peanut buckets.
Oh, the freaking rolls are the best rolls in the world.
Cinnamon butter?
Yeah. Well, I don't use the butter. I just eat whatever. The rolls come out with like butter on top, and I'm like, all up in them. And my grandpa comes to lunch, and he busts out a phone book. And he's like, you got to start calling moving companies.
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, Grandpa, like, you can't, like, what are you doing? Like, I can't tell people.
Yeah.
And then, like, I tell my dad, and this girl I went to middle school with that I knew in middle school and then, whatever, disappeared and then saw her later in life and we became friends again. And she hits me on Facebook and she goes, oh, man, I can't believe you're moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
And you're freaking out.
I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, oh, I know, don't worry. I'm not going to
sign that NDA.
And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She was like, yeah, your dad told, and I was like, who told you that? She's like, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah. I don't want to get in trouble. You live in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's some guy my dad worked with, so he told her, I'm like, Dad, you can't tell anybody. Like, do you understand what it means to not tell anybody?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was just so weird to keep it silent.
Yeah.
Because
were you excited?
Well, no. Well, yes, because it's still my job, but
you didn't want to leave what you knew.
I've had the same friends since elementary school.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Austin. Yeah. I went to college in San Antonio and I moved back to Austin.
Yeah.
So I had the same crew.
Yeah.
I was having the time of my life just running all over that city.
Yeah.
And my parents were there. My brother and sister are there.
Yeah.
All of that. So was I excited? I mean, it was cool that I still had a job and okay, we're getting bigger and bigger things are happening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm leaving my family behind and it's just like, ugh, like what do we do?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
This is weird. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing it, like we're doing this thing. And I just had to keep it quiet. And it's like weird because I had commitments because I'm on soccer teams and they're like, oh, we're signing up for next season. You in? I'm like, no, I'm not going to play. What do you mean you're not going to play? And I'll never forget. I played on a co-ed team, right?
Yeah.
And it was a dad and his 3 daughters and, well, actually his 5 daughters. And they all played. And I was my last game, you know what I mean? We had some beers in the stands.
Yeah.
They're like, cheers, good luck. And I was like, Rick, it's not like I'm dying, man. It's not like I'm never going to see you guys again.
Yeah.
And I never saw him again.
Yeah.
Like, I never did. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, Rick has now passed away, like their dad. And it was just like, I still think about him saying that to me and me and be like, oh, dude, I'll see you, Rick. I'll come back. You know what I mean?
We say that all the time.
Right.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
But still, but then, it really was the last time I saw Rick. Like, it was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So, yes, but it was just strange to not be able to tell people for so long.
Yeah.
It was so
It's a hard
stressful.
secret to keep.
Oh,
for sure.
so stressful.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, man, you can't tell anybody. You tell your best friend, you're like, you cannot tell anybody.
Yeah.
You cannot tell anybody.
So when Bobby, I would assume Bobby announced it on the air.
Yeah, we had a big thing where we had a big announcement coming up. Big announcement, big announcement, big announcement. And we had a big old thing and we announced it.
And then shortly after, how long were you guys gone?
Like a week.
Yeah. So you guys all come here. So you, Bobby, was Amy a part of it?
Amy, Ray, Eddie.
Mike D intern? So did Mike D? He didn't come up here for a while.
No, he didn't come up right away. But our producer at the time, Elena,
she
came.
Yeah,
like so it was. I mean, it was
crazy. The whole team moved. So
whole team.
I mean, a massive, really a life changing.
No, nobody in the
team.
city. No,
Yeah.
nobody. Nothing. Nothing. No, nothing about this place.
Yeah. So how were you? How was the reception here? Like, I mean, did Bobby take over for somebody else, or was there an existing show that the slot that you guys took over the slot? Or
So there was a guy named Jerry House that did it for a long time.
okay,
And then he was out, and I guess they tried a couple other shows in between, and it didn't work.
yeah,
And nobody remembered those shows. They
Yeah.
only remember Jerry because
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Oh, you're not as good as Jerry," but they didn't remember those shows.
sure,
So I wouldn't say we were received well, but eventually, it's like any time, like in Austin, we weren't received well when we started.
yeah,
Because you're a new show. They're like, I don't know these guys. What the crap is this? This
Yeah.
is terrible. It's terrible. And you just got to slowly chip away.
Yeah.
Slowly chip
Yeah.
away. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, you guys are the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah,
we've
yeah.
been trying to tell you.
yeah,
And it was weird. Like, I was like, I'm going to move here. How am I going to meet people? I'm like, I'm going to be friends with all the salespeople, because in Austin, it was all, the salespeople were all our age.
yeah,
So it's all, like when we started, it was
Guys go out
22,
together, do
22,
everything together.
23-year-old females.
Yeah.
And we would all just go out and party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to be friends with all the salespeople. All the salespeople were 60 and
Yeah.
above. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's not going to work. So I'm going to join some, rec sports teams.
yeah,
I joined them and I made some friends. But the only problem was a lot of them were in college and I'm 31.
yeah.
It was like a weird, like,
Yeah, you're at that weird age where it's like you have friends that are kind of in that transition phase in life where they're in college, they're going to be out, and then I feel like late 20s, early 30s is kind of a weird age when you're like in the social scene.
it's like, how do you make friends
Yeah.
because you join these sports leagues, but it's
Yeah.
usually early 20s people and you're 30. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's weird. So that's how, it was just a weird way to making friends was really a weird situation.
This is like 2013-ish, 14?
Yep, 13.
Yeah, because I remember in Indy at the time, my buddy AC, who worked for one of the news stations out there, he's like, "Hey man, I know you're big," because at the time I was doing like little segments with WFMS country radio in
I
Indy.
met AC.
Yeah,
I met him one time when I went to the Super Bowl.
Anthony Calhoun.
Yep.
Awesome guy, very well connected. He's the guy that knows everybody.
Everybody.
And so
He took us to St. Elmo's.
There you go. You got the shrimp cocktail
Oh my
and
God.
the horseradish.
Oh my
and,
God,
yeah.
I'm about to burn my face off.
St. Elmo's is good.
Yeah.
Is good. That's really cool that you know AC. So he's the one that said, "Hey, I know you like country music. I got a mutual friend who just started a show in Nashville. His name's Bobby Bones." So I looked him up. I'm like, cool. And it was during my bye week. And I think their mutual friend was Andy Roderick.
Andy Roddick, yeah.
The Roddick, the tennis player. And so during my bye week, I told AC, I said, "Hey, I'm going down to Nashville for the bye week." And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna connect you with Bobby. You guys got to meet." So that's when I first came on.
Okay.
Yeah, it was during my bye week, 2014, and that's when I met you guys. And that's when I slowly I couldn't listen in Indy because you guys weren't there, but
Right.
just started following you guys on social media and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And then I think a year or two later, like started airing in Indy.
Yes.
It didn't last long.
No, and then we got cut.
Not a good market. I don't know why you weren't again.
But sometimes here's the thing.
It's weird, right?
Sometimes we'll be doing well in a market and
Yeah.
they'll still flip the station.
Well, I heard Seattle just got rid of you guys, right?
And I don't know.
But you guys are doing well in
that's-
Seattle,
yes.
and then
So I have no idea who makes that decision, how that works, and how they decide to flip a station.
yeah. But over
Way
time,
over my head.
but over time, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have become like the #1 morning show, syndicated morning show, like country radio
In all the country.
in all the country.
Correct.
So how long did it take for you guys to kind of get that coveted spot?
Well, I would say we were right away because we were in a lot of markets right away, but I don't know how.
The Nashville move was huge. It was
Yes.
strategic.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So now you guys have this massive morning show. Again, Amy's here, Eddie's here, you're here. Ray is now a personality of the show. Mike D is now like a personality, and obviously you have you, and you're kind of like the controversial.
Well, I wouldn't say controversial. I think I'm more not padded. I'm not soft.
You're rough around the edges, and sometimes you
people don't like that.
Yeah, because you're loud. You're
Yes.
you. You're you.
I think people think I'm rude because I'm loud.
Yeah.
They don't like loud. If you are loud and you don't have the opinion they like,
Yeah.
you're rude.
Yeah.
If I said it softly, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a neat opinion." You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm loud and
Yeah.
I believe in what I say and I back it up and
Yeah.
I'm argumentative.
Yeah.
I think maybe part of it.
Yeah.
And so people don't take too kindly to that sometimes.
So how have you managed to stay true to your character? I mean, so talk about Lunchbox. Where did Lunchbox come from?
So in the 3rd grade, I wanted a Superman lunchbox from Walmart for
Yeah.
school. And I said, "Mom, can I get this Superman lunchbox?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "All right. 3rd grader, what do? Stick it up your shirt."
Absolutely. Why not?
Absolutely. Just going to steal this sucker. And I mean, Now that I'm older, I realize how big that was as a third grader up my shirt. I think I'm hiding it well.
Yeah.
My mom lets me walk around the entire store without saying a word.
Yeah. So she knew? Did she know that you were trying to pickpocket this thing?
Listen, now that I'm older, I realize how big it was. So obviously she knew.
And she wanted you to get caught.
And we get done checking out, and then she goes, "Oh, wait, is there something under your shirt?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No." She goes, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, and knocks on it. I'm like, Mom, I have no idea how that got there. I have no idea how that got there. And so she made me go give it back to the manager, and they just kind of made fun of me.
Did she call you out in front of like the clerk though?
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
yeah,
she called you out, threw you under the bus, and then she made you go apologize to the store manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, here, I was trying to take this from your store. I wasn't going to pay for it. Blah blah blah. So that's how I got it.
So your mom gave it. Did your mom give you?
Yeah.
The
Then
nickname?
they kind of just made fun of me for the rest of my life. Like, oh, remember that time you tried to steal that lunchbox? You know. And so that was it.
So, but when you came onto the air in Austin, was that?
Bobby was just like, hey, you got any funny nicknames like stories? And that was it.
Yeah, because your real name's Dan.
Yeah. We don't really say that ever, but yes.
But Lunchbox is but that's what people know you by.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like how long did it take for you to like just fully own and commit to Lunchbox?
Right away. I was just like,
I mean, does your wife call you Lunchbox?
No. But when I like in her phone, I was Lunchbox.
So when you were dating, did you introduce yourself as your name, or how did she receive Lunchbox? Like, did she think it was funny? Did she think it was a joke?
Oh, no. Like, she knew who I was.
Yeah.
And she hated me. Like, she hated me. She would listen when she was in college.
Yeah.
And as her quote was, I would make her blood boil.
Really?
Yeah.
So she knew your personality on the air before you met, like, in person?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And then I met her through our old promotions director.
Yeah.
And we all went to lunch together one time when I was in Houston. Then we went to an Astros game and we got drunk.
Yeah.
And we made out. And
you made out in left field?
No, we took a tequila shot in left field. And in the middle, who takes a tequila shot at a baseball game? Don't ask me.
Oh my gosh.
And then we went back and we were playing darts at the bar across the street, and we were making out. And then our old promotions director and her boyfriend were leaving. I was like, well, I still want to party because I was on vacation.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, we have a boxing event at the Toyota Center where she worked, and a lot of the people are staying at your hotel. I'll go see if they're at the hotel bar. So we go to the hotel bar and we keep drinking and we party with like the people from Oscar De La Hoya Boxing.
Okay.
And she's like, I can't drive home. I'm too drunk.
Yeah.
And there was some like 55-year-old dude that worked for the boxing promotion that was like, well, you can sleep in my room. And I was like, well, you can sleep in my room. And she was like, oh, gosh. So she picked my room.
And now you're married.
And now we're married. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just how it happened.
That's crazy. So she hated the character Lunchbox.
She hated
but she
everything.
fell in love with the real you.
Well, she just got to know me and realized, okay, you know what I mean? He's not as rude as like, he's not rude. Like,
sure, you have, yes. I would have to agree that you're like, it's easy to get annoyed by you on the air, but when you hang out in person, it's like, it's easier to accept you as who you are because it's you. You're just
it's just who I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
and you're fun.
Yes, I'm fun.
Yes.
Like you may not agree with all my opinions, but I'm fun. I'm going to make everything interesting.
Yes.
That's how I do life.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like that, I get why you don't like me and you find me annoying and abrasive and look at me negatively, but guess what? You're going to be in for an adventure. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Yeah.
And that's who I've been since I was a kid.
Have you ever tried to cancel you off the show? Like, have you ever been tried to have the fans ever tried to get you kicked off?
No. The fans whatever.
I don't have a small group of haters, but I think the masses
I don't
really
listen to them.
Dude, my
people.
wife, whenever we listen on the way to drop it, dude, every time you start talking, my wife laughs. Because you're just that energy that just comes out of nowhere and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, these people that like I love people that come on social media and hit on me negative comments. Like, do you really think that bothers me? Like, everybody's like, how do you deal with all the backlash? I'm like, you think I give two craps about that?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not fun, boring people. Get out of here.
But then again, to our point, like when they meet you in person, you're like, you're awesome.
Well, it's not only that, but they are a little bit. I will never forget. People hold on to things, just so you know. So, like one time in Austin, this guy calls in. I don't know what he was talking about. He sounded like such a loser. And I was like, dude, you probably have a mail-ordered bride. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to guess, you're
took offense to that. Got very upset.
Whatever. Yes, he's all mad.
Yeah.
4 years later. 4 years later.
Yeah.
I'm walking down 6th Street.
Yeah.
And I had a few drinks, and some guy taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Does this look like a mail order bride to you, you mother?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I called in 4 years ago, and you said I had a mail-ordered bride. Does this look like some mail-ordered bride to you, you idiot?" And I was like...
And he was referring to his girlfriend or wife?
His wife.
Yeah.
I was like, "I guess not, man." He goes, "That's what I thought."
Wow. So how did you... But then how long did it take you to remember
I was just
that?
I was like, "Oh, I guess I said that 4 years ago. I don't know." Like, I mean, that's what I'm like... I can't believe you actually held on to that and found me 4 years later, tracked me down in the middle of 6th Street to confront me about it, to point out that, does your wife look like a mail order bride? And what if I'd have said yes?
You should have.
Nah, I didn't really. See, here's the thing. I don't want to fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not, that's not you.
Like, I'm having a good time. Like, it's probably a joke. I don't even know what we were talking about. Who knows? But good grief, to hold on to that for 4 years.
Yeah,
that's your problem. That's a you problem. It's not a me problem.
Well, then also it kind of puts in perspective the influence that you guys have as a show, because you're the biggest syndicated show in country music in the country. And I mean, how many cities are you guys in?
I don't know.
Let's just say 100, right? That's a lot.
150.
Okay, let's say
200.
Let's say 250.
You know what? Let's say 350.
Let's say 400.
Okay,
I mean,
let's do it.
I mean, you're out there.
Yeah.
And people buy into who you guys are. I mean, you guys share a lot about your family on there. You guys share about a lot of like real life things, and people think they know you.
No, but so they do know us because we are an open book. So I get it.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's good. They should feel like they know us because we do. We share everything.
But anything you do say to these people, whether it's a comment or on the air, like, they hold on to it because
it's that specific to them,
and they care about your show.
Whereas
they're diehard fans.
Whereas we say something and we move on, and we don't remember what we said 10 minutes ago.
Well, sometimes when you're talking into a mic, you don't realize that a million people are listening to you at the same time.
Right.
You know, that's what's crazy about it.
You don't know what's going to resonate with who.
Yes.
Like, you say something, you think, oh, that was just a dumb little comment.
Yeah.
But to someone that was like life changing, and you're like, and you have no idea. Like, you spit the wisdom, but you just don't know who's willing to accept it.
And yeah.
Because I spit wisdom a lot, and people get angry about it. And I'm like, guys, you're missing the point. You're getting mad at my tone, but you're not hearing the message. It's a great message. If you listen to me, you'd probably be billionaires by now.
Yeah. Well, so when I was here, I was like an unofficial intern with you guys in 2017 when I came here to live here for the off season. Learned a lot. At the time, Bobby had his podcast, the Bobbycast, when he started that.
Yeah.
He invited me to come over to his house, sit down to do a podcast. At the time, this is my first podcasting. Wasn't.
Oh gosh.
We're gonna go back to this.
We're
Coach.
not.
We're gonna relive this, Coach.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna go back because you play a significant role in my life, and you probably don't even know it.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna go back to this.
So podcasting was relatively new. Bobby has me on there. We go there. I share my story and talk about this kind of stuff, and we talk about Bree.
Oh boy.
My wife at the time was my ex-girlfriend. He asked me, how do we meet? I was like, she's a cheerleader. Oh, I thought fraternizing wasn't allowed. I said, well, this is what happened. And I kind of bent the truth a little bit. Long story short, I probably didn't paint her in the greatest light on that podcast. The podcast goes out.
Oh boy.
All of Bobby's listeners tune in. The show airs in Evansville, Indiana. Evansville, Indiana is where my wife is from. So her family listens. Their friends listen, all this kind of stuff. They listen when I'm interning on there, all that kind of stuff. Somebody tweets to my wife and mom about the podcast they listen to. You know, I think it was like a friend from Evansville too, like said something on there. Obviously, Bree had no idea I was even on this podcast. Sees the tweet, obviously digs through and finds this podcast, listens to it. Obviously, he gets really, really upset. She's hurt. At the time, we were broken up. It was still very, very hard feelings at the time. I get a text from her mom.
Do you ever talk about this with them?
No, but we did. But it's funny to bring it up now because this was several years ago. Obviously, we just had our second daughter together. Like, a lot has changed. The mom sends me a very long, the long text message is never a good one.
Yeah.
And I'm at the gym at this time, and it was this long, like, how disappointed we are in how you portrayed Bree on this podcast. You know she's not like this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just say? So I went back and listened to this podcast. I'm like, I didn't say anything bad, but I understand how they could get upset. Shortly thereafter, Bobby brings me on the air to talk about the situation. And I'll never forget that you were like, dude, you guys are getting back together, no doubt about it. I'm like, we're broke. That ship has sailed, coach. You're like, nope, you still care about her. You're going to get back together with her. Coach, here we are. Several years later, she is now my wife. We just had our second daughter. You in that moment, you spoke it into existence. But it was that controversy through that podcast and all that kind of stuff that kind of like, it kind of reeled. I mean, obviously it separated us even more because she was so upset about what I said. But over time, that's what kept me to like pursue her.
Yeah.
So you spoke it into existence.
But the way that's what I say is people, they don't hear what you say.
Yeah.
They just hear tone and they're just mad.
And you could tell that my tone was like sincere and genuine and what? Like
Yes, you could tell.
I wasn't over her yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You could tell the way you were talking about it. Like you had hurt. You guys had hurt because you had broken up. So you were a little hurt.
That I hurt her feelings.
Yes, but deep down, deep down, it was like, okay, they still like each other. That's why they're both so angry about this. That's why they're so upset.
Yeah, because if I really didn't care, I probably would have just shrugged it off. And
right.
Yeah.
And her being upset also showed like, oh my God, I still deeply care about this dude.
Yeah.
And he's on a podcast, quote unquote, bashing me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, obviously you still both like each other. Like, get over it. Like,
yeah, that's how it was. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Like, people, that's what I'm saying. People get upset about things, but it's like, guys, like you're reading too much into it. Just look at if you weren't mad about it, that means you don't care. That means you still cared, and her mom still cared about you guys' relationship, or else she wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, it wasn't about you talked about her daughter on the podcast. It was like, we still thought you were going to get back to with our daughter. How could you air that out on a podcast?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's just.
So, Coach, I mean, you opened my eyes.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, you did. You kind of counseled us. You spoke to me in a way that like counseled me through what I was going through, and I didn't even know it. So I guess I'm here to tell you today that thank you, Coach.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad you have 2 daughters.
Lunchbox, whether people believe it or not, might be the most pivotal character on the show.
Yeah. I might be the Socrates of
Socrates?
That's him.
Yeah.
Socrates.
Yes.
He's a philosopher.
Yes,
or a poet.
believe, or a Greek god. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey,
one of the very important though.
Very important.
Yes.
I've heard his name before, but I'm just glad it worked out.
Yeah,
and listen,
man.
I don't even remember saying. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that resonated with you.
I'll never forget that moment.
Like that resonated with you. That's something I have no idea. I don't remember saying it.
You did.
And that's sort of like the mail order bride. Don't remember saying it, but whatever. Once he said it, I was like,
goes to show your influence, Coach.
Once he said it, I was like, yeah, I probably did say that to you.
Yeah,
dude. All
yeah.
right, cool.
And now my wife Bree loves you too.
Good.
You're her favorite.
I love her too.
Yeah.
Not like in that way, but like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean. Yeah. So like the show now, right? It's going on 20 years. Wait, pretty soon then, huh?
20 years.
Are you guys gonna celebrate that?
No, because we really celebrate it in Nashville. So we're just celebrating our 10 years.
Okay.
I don't know how that works in radio world or life. I don't know why, but for some reason we talk about being here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole new audience.
Yeah. So is Nashville the greatest thing, one of the greatest things that's happened to you, would you say? Like looking back, like that, being unsure about moving here and whether your job being on the show was up in the air, like, I mean,
was it one of the great? I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Great city, great place. If I could move back to Austin tomorrow, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Because that's where my family's at.
Yeah.
Period.
Do you think at some point? No. Why?
Until I get fired from the show.
Well, of course, but I'm saying like long term. Do you see? Let's just say you get an opportunity down there, or
I am gonna ride this train until the train runs out of gas. Period. That's it. There's no. That's it. No looking out the window unless I hit the lottery.
Yeah.
If I hit the lottery, I'll be out here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. I won't even put a for sale sign in my front yard. I'll just burn it down.
Yeah.
Like bye.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah. It's like retiring from the NFL. You won't even have like a press conference.
Don't even need to put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you never hear from me again, you know that I hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
See ya.
Or you're dead.
Well, let's not.
I mean, let's not hope that, but
the lottery. Hopefully, my wife will tweet or Instagram for me,
or somebody on the show will say something.
Yeah, and say something. I mean, but if I win the lottery, I won't even call them to tell them I quit. I'm telling you, I'm out. Like, see ya.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man.
Like, if you hit the lottery, would you quit playing football?
That's a good question because I love playing, so I don't know. I don't think I would.
Oh.
I would still probably try to play as much as I could because like for when people ask me about football, like, Coach, I'm trying to ride this train
Until it runs out of gas.
Until the wheels fall off or...
Question.
Yeah.
This is just random.
Yeah.
You don't get an NFL invite this year.
Yeah.
XFL comes calling. Do you play in the XFL?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Because you're at that point where...
Well, this happened to me. So in 2019, I sat out all of football. I got cut from the Jags right after training camp. Nothing really happened. I got called to San Diego or LA Chargers for 1 week. But I didn't play all of 2019 in the regular season. At the time, it was either the XFL or the USFL had started their first year, and I got called twice to sign, and I turned it down. And the reason being is because there was these young guys who I was training with who are they reminded me of me 10 years prior, like hungry, needed an opportunity, had the talent, just wasn't getting any looks. I referred them to those coaches who called me. So in that regard, I paid it forward. I'm like, dude, take these guys out. And it was incredible because there was a kid, Christian Kuntz, undersized guy, great. He played linebacker in college, and Pittsburgh kid, just like blue collar, like just a kid that you root for. He was on the practice squad in Jacksonville with me as a long snapper, but he was very raw. Nobody had really coached him, and he had the talent, but he just needed somebody to refine him. And I tried to be that guy for him. The coach for the team who called said, "Hey, well, if you're not going to play for me, like, do you have any?" I'm like, "Yeah, Christian Kuntz." He signs with that XFL team, has a great year. Pittsburgh Steelers sign him the next year. So it was that platform that he needed to elevate him.
Is he still there?
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah, so I think this coming year will be his third year.
That's legit.
Yeah, so like it was like, dude, because I was that guy, the UFL was that for me, 15 years ago.
So you think XFL is more for the younger guys?
Yeah, for sure. Like I would never want to I've already had my glory, my time in the league. Like that platform is for guys who need it. I don't need that. That would just be me being selfish and trying to hang on. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather transition into like podcasting full time or, doing some media type stuff. Like, but I'm training, coach. I'm training like I'm training for year 12. And I don't know what it looks like. I don't know where God will lead me, what door will open. I hope to go back to Dallas for another opportunity, but if not, we'll
with free agency coming up.
Yeah.
Is your agent already talking to people, or is it just kind of silent and you're just waiting for?
It's pretty silent for the most part. I think like when teams get together for the combine, that's when a lot of the GMs, the scouts, the agents, they're all there together. That's when they start talking. You'll see a lot of the headlines, like, for instance, like Saquon Barkley is probably the biggest free agent this year, one of the big guys. And so like you'll start seeing headlines like agent and GM meet at the combine, to start negotiations. Like that's a big time for people because St. Elmo, well, I don't know if the combine's in Indy this year. It went to LA last year.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
I know they were talking about taking it on the road.
Well, so St. Elmo was that plays a huge role in that's one of the main spots that everyone gathers. Like during the combine, you could walk in there and you'll see Jerry Jones, you'll see the Davis owner for the Raiders. You'll see the who's of the NFL in there at the bar eating dinner and negotiating. That's where it all starts. It's crazy. Like Indy is a really cool place to be during the combine. So my agent will probably go there. We'll say, hey, what do you think about Matt? Oh yeah, we know what Matt's. This is what this is what happened last year. Like the Chargers, like yeah, we love Matt. Like if he's the guy that we want to bring back, we will. And it didn't work out that way. So it's the same this year. So what I told my agent going into this year of free agency, last year I was very, very hopeful to go back to LA. I wanted to be a Charger. My wife loved it there. I loved it there. I was closer to home. I love that organization. Who doesn't want to live in Orange County and play at SoFi Stadium and play with Justin Herbert, one of the best quarterbacks.
Gosh, he's awesome.
So I loved it there, and I thought there was a future for me there. And so obviously it didn't work out. Went to Dallas this year. I would love to go back to Dallas, but I've accepted my role, and I've said this a few times already on this and to other people and on your Sore Losers podcast. My role is if my role is the emergency long snapper, then so be it. Like I understand my role now. Like I'm not viewed as like the immediate, hey, he's our future. But hey, if we need a guy come August, September, October, we know that we can count on Matt Overton to come in and take over and do a good job. So that's the role that I've embraced and I've accepted. If I do get signed in March, then that would be great. But, I also want to be here. We just had our baby. I would love to
be in the emergency one's not too bad.
Skip over the OTAs, skip over the training camp. And hey, I will train just as hard, if not harder here, in, preparing for an opportunity than I would in, OTAs, and I get to stay home with my wife and my girls, and really develop that family time, which I think is priceless.
And now when I see pictures of you guys online, I'm responsible for that.
Coach,
just so you know.
Yeah, you spoke it into existence.
There you go.
You opened my eyes to true love that I thought I lost or that I thought I was better without.
Yeah.
So man, thank you so much. And Bree will thank you too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bree don't have to. You don't have to.
Dang. Well, I appreciate you, man. You can find Lunchbox every morning.
Yep.
Bobby Bones Show. And then also, let's talk about your podcast real quick.
The Sore Losers Podcast, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, Eddie, and Ray.
For a little bit longer. Eddie's quitting.
What? I thought I just saw the 25 whistles thing.
No, he's done. He told us he's done. So
he's done with everything outside of the Bobby Bones Show?
Yep. He told us that last week.
So who's going to fill his shoes?
I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet.
Dang.
Kind of hurt. It hit me right in the...
Dang.
You know what I'm saying?
Do I need to call my agent to call your agent and maybe we can work something out?
Maybe. We haven't talked about it. I haven't talked to Ray about it. We just kind of let it...
Dang, dude. How does that feel?
It sucks, but hey, man, whatever. I mean, I get it.
The podcast will go on.
Yeah. It's just like what they're called. What are they called? TLC. They went on.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, but she. Oh, that was.
No. Beyonce's group.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
No, TLC because the left eye she died and
she passed away in the car accident.
But did they keep singing?
No, they broke up. T-Balls went one way. Chili went one way. But then Destiny's Child kind of sang. Beyonce.
See,
obviously.
I'm not very good at music. I don't really know.
NSYNC kind of broke up.
I don't. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake doing his own thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone that they left and they kept going, but I don't know.
Shaq and Kobe. Yeah.
Scotty and Michael.
Yeah.
And Rodman.
Dude, all great things come to an end.
That's right. But yeah, so I mean, it's just I don't know. But
that's crazy. I didn't know
Sore
about
Losers
that.
Podcast.
I thought it was just a 25 whistles thing.
Nah, man, it's a whole thing. But that's all right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
You adapt and adjust. That's what the
right.
greats do.
You know what I mean? You always gotta have a plan.
You gotta stay ready, coach.
Yeah, stay ready. You never gotta get ready. You know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate.
No, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And man, thank you for the man. It's cool to share the birthday. My daughter and your son have the same birthday.
Pretty cool. 3 years apart.
That's awesome, coach. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate
so they'll be
your
in high school together.
Yeah.
Yeah, senior and freshman year.
Where are we going? We're gonna go to the same high school. Where are we going?
I don't know. I don't even know the name of high school, so
yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'm not really up to date on my high schools.
Well, you don't need to be yet. You know.
Exactly. I'm not a creep.
Just as long as my daughter's definitely not going to Kansas.
Why?
I'm just not about it.
You don't want to win?
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she'll go to UNC.
Nah, they don't win.
Or Duke.
Nah, Duke. Puke.
She'll go to IU. Go Hoosiers.
Stop.
She'll go to Tennessee. Go Vols.
Yeah, if you want them, yeah.
Oh,
Rick
man.
Barnes, you're going to lose in March. Don't worry. Start real good and then train wreck. We want to get
Gonzaga. I know.
All right.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, take it easy, man.